Good morning. Today you will notice that you have a piece of chocolate on your desk. I'd like everyone to take that piece of chocolate, but don't eat it yet. Your icebreaker question for today, you each have your icebreaker sheet. Your icebreaker question is, where did that chocolate sweetness come from? So when you bite into a piece of chocolate and it's sweet to taste, where is that sweetness from? Is it from a plant? Is it from an animal? Is it from something that is man-made? What makes the chocolate sweet? Okay, so think about that question. And once you think about where it came from, where does that sweetness come from, I want you to tell me what that sweetness is and how did it get to be in your chocolate. So brainstorm some of the steps that it took to make our chocolate sweet. Okay, I will give you 5 minutes to brainstorm. Okay, now let's have a classroom discussion. What makes your chocolate sweet? Yes. Yes, sugar makes your chocolate sweet. Where does sugar come from? It comes from a plant, yes. Sugar cane. How many of you put sugar cane down? Okay, good. Now, how many of you have seen sugar cane before? Maybe if you've been to a southern states like Florida, okay? Maybe if you've been out of the country, like in South America, okay? A couple of you have seen sugar cane. Now, sugar cane is one type of sweetness or sugar that can be added to our baked goods, to our candy, to chocolate, but it's not the only type of sweetener. Does anyone know if there's any other kinds of sugar? Okay, high fructose corn syrup is a good one. Yes, that is definitely another type of sugar. Today we are going to explore sugar and we are going to investigate if there is another type of white sugar. Okay, so here's a bag of white sugar that you might use to bake cookies with. Now this sugar on the back says the ingredient is sugar, but it does not say cane sugar. So we don't know if this is cane sugar or if it's another type of sugar called beet sugar, which we are going to explore today. So I have a short video for us to watch.
Have you ever thought about where sugar comes from? Real sugar is grown and harvested by sugar beet and sugarcane farmers. And the same sugar found naturally in these plants is what ends up in your pantry, ready to play a supporting role in your favorite recipes and family traditions. From family farm to family table, there's only one real sugar. Learn more at realsugar.org.
Okay, what surprised you? I know that was a short video. We are going to watch 2 more videos here in a second, but they introduced 2 types of sugar to us, sugar beet sugar and sugar cane sugar. Now both are plants and both grow in the soil, but they might grow in different regions. Okay, so let's get a few thoughts on that video. What did you observe? What are you curious about? What questions do you still have? Okay, let's pause and have a classroom discussion. Turn to your partner and see what they thought. Okay, now let's talk about that as a class.
Let's see what a typical day looks like for Farmer Keith in Belle Glade, Florida. It takes over 30 people to grow sugarcane on the 47,000 acres that Keith manages. He works with his team to prepare for planting. They furrow or plow the land to break up the soil and prepare rows for the sugarcane seeds or stalks to be planted. Once the fields are ready, Keith selects different sugarcane varieties for each field based on recommendations from sugarcane research. Let's see what a typical day looks like for Farmer Kurt in Raleigh, California. It takes a team to grow sugar beets. Kurt works with his family and neighbors to prepare for planting. They break up hard clay, flood the fields to hydrate and soften the ground, use GPS to make precise rows, and then till. Once the fields are ready, it takes the team.
Okay, now that you had a chance to see sugarcane from farm to plate, as well as sugar beets from farm to plate, we are going to take these cards here. These are some sequence cards. Now, in your groups, you are going to lay out the path from farm to plate in order of the sequence of how sugarcane or sugar beets are grown, harvested, and processed. Okay? I want you to look at the steps and think about the videos that we just watched. Read the steps on here, put them in sequence order, and then see which one had the most steps. Does sugarcane take more steps, or does sugar beets take more steps? See if there's any steps that overlap or something that's different in the process. Okay, while you are doing that, I'm going to prepare our lab for us. We are going to do a blind taste test of sugarcane and sugar beet sugar and see if we notice a difference. Okay, let's come back together in about 10 minutes and we'll see what we thought about the sequencing activity, and then we will move on to our lab. Okay, let's talk about what we see in the sequence. So in our sugar beets, we have harvest the sugar beets, wash, slice, and soak the beets to extract the juice, clean the juice to remove impurities and extra color to produce sugar syrup, crystallize the sugar from the syrup, spin to remove the liquid, dry, and then package. For the sugar cane, harvest the sugar cane, crush, soak, and squeeze the cane to extract the juice, boil the juice, crystallize the sugar from the syrup, spin to remove liquid to produce raw sugar, transport the raw sugar to another factory, melt the raw sugar and filter the remaining impurities and extra color to produce sugar syrup, dry the sugar crystals, and then package for distribution. Those two processes result in our sugar cane and sugar beet sugar. So which one had more steps? The sugar cane has more steps. Good. What was different about that one? Producing it into raw sugar. So you can buy raw sugar at the grocery store. You may see that. Just like brown sugar or powdered sugar, that's just another form of this sucrose, this sugar. But you can take it one step further, and it's just a little bit easier to mix with and dissolve when baking and using it for cookies or cakes or muffins or whatever you might be using. The beginning is also different. Wash, slice, and soak the beets. Now this is related to the red beet, but a sugar beet is a white beet, so it's naturally a white sugar. Same with the sugar cane, but this one you're going to crush, soak, and squeeze the cane to extract the juice from the inside. So this one we're going to crush and soak. This one we're going to wash and slice. All right, here is our lab for today. The sugar beet versus sugar cane lab. A blind test. Use your senses to investigate the sugar samples. So this sample is A, this sample is B. You're going to write down your notes. First you're going to use your eyes. Then you're going to feel the sample. And then you're going to smell the sample. Taste the sample, and then you can also move it around, see if there's any difference in the texture or if you can hear any difference with them. And then you're going to take your notes in this box here. You're going to make your prediction. Which one do you think is sugarcane? Which one do you think is sugar beets? Your reasoning why. Your review, is there a difference? Which sample was your favorite? And which sample do you think you have at home? You each have your own taste test, your own sample, but you will be working on this with your group. All right, great job everyone with that lab. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So with our samples, what did you notice? Sample A had a little bit more of a yellow tint to it, slightly more yellow. It also had a little bit of a softer texture to it. Sample B was more white. It also was more granular. Good. Did one of them have a little bit more earthy taste to it? Sample A had a little bit more earthy taste. Sample B was a little bit more subtle. Okay. Which one do you think you have at home? Raise your hand if you think you have sample A at home. Okay. Raise your hand if you think you have sample B at home. Awesome. Okay. So now let's talk about which one we think is sugarcane and which one we think is sugar beets. Okay, good. I'm going to tell you, sample A is sugar beets. It has the slightly more yellow tint to it. It's also a little bit more fine in texture. Sample B is the sugar cane. It's going to have a little bit more of a subtle sweetness to it, a little bit more palatable on the tongue. Now, if we look at these at a molecular level though, They are exactly the same. They are a sucrose compound, and it's the sugar that is made through photosynthesis that comes from the plants when they are making food. And some plants are just more naturally sweet and have sugar, but it's all sucrose. Okay, so that sucrose is that sweetness, that compound that makes sugar. Now, if you have sugar at home, how you know most often if it's sugar beet or sugar cane. Sugar cane tends to be the more superior sugar, and it has to say 100% cane sugar on the bag. So when you get home, if it says 100% cane sugar, then that would be from sugar cane. This sugar here that I bought is just labeled with sugar, so this not necessarily sugar beet sugar, but most often if it just says sugar, it comes from a sugar beet. Sugar cane sugar has to say cane sugar on it, okay? So most likely you will be able to tell from your sugar sample at home. You can also, when you open it, then notice if it has a little bit more of a yellow tint to it or if it's more purely white. They do have just a slightly different taste because sugar beets grow in the ground, so it will have just a little bit of more of an earthy flavor to it, but when you bake with it, it's going to bake the same as sugar cane sugar. Okay, we are going to watch one more video to wrap up this conversation, but before we do that, what questions do you have? Okay, so where does the sugar beet sugar grow? So that's going to grow in more of a northern, cooler climate, and it's going to be an annual plant. Now, sugar cane sugar is going to grow more in warmer southern climates, and it's going to be actually a 2-year process. So we will grow the sugar cane up and then we will harvest it the second year. So sugar cane takes a little bit longer to produce. Okay, what other questions do you have? Yes. Is one more expensive? That's actually a really good question. At the grocery store, this is the cheaper one that I bought. Sugar cane will tend to have a little bit of a higher cost to it because it is kind of known as that superior sugar, but they are the same. If you look at the calorie for calorie, if you look at the compounds, they are the exact same, but branding really plays a lot in what consumers buy, and sugar cane is known more as the superior sugar. Is one better for you than the other? Good question. They are the same. If you are baking cookies and you are putting sugar beet sugar or sugar cane sugar into that recipe, it's going to be the same calorie and nutrient content in that cookie. Good question. Let's see, one more question. Yes. Which one's my favorite? Oh, good question. I don't know if I really have a favorite one. I think using them in a recipe, I wouldn't be able to tell a difference. I think just tasting it right now, I might like the sugar cane one a little bit better because it's a little bit more subtle, not as earthy flavor just from sampling just the straight sugar, but I don't really have a preference when it comes to baking with it. All right, class. So we are wrapping up. Great job today. Make sure that you finish your lab worksheet and turn that into me. And then today, your exit ticket question. On your exit ticket, before you turn this in, I'm going to write the questions on the board. But your questions for the exit ticket include, which sugar grows close to Iowa? And you can see on the board right here, these questions are up there. Which sugar grows close to Iowa? Which sugar is in the grass family? Which sugar has more steps from farm to plate? Which sugar is an annual? And is there a difference nutritionally? Okay, so we just reviewed some of those questions. Okay, we're going to watch our last video and then we will finish our exit ticket and wrap up for today.
Real sugar comes from? Real sugar comes from sugar beet and sugarcane plants grown right here in the United States. 17 states across the U.S. grow and or refine sugar. Sugar beets grow best in cooler climates and temperatures, while sugarcane thrives in warmer tropical climates. Sugar beet factories and raw cane sugar factories operate near the farms to shorten the distance farmers need to travel.
All right, everyone, now that we watched our last video,
I'd like you to answer these questions on your bell ringer. They are written on the whiteboard, so go ahead, answer those 5 questions, turn them into me, and I will see you next time.